It doesn't seem 5 minutes since we were thinking about the Benfica game, about that fantastic result out there in Portugal, about the 2-2 draw out in Lisbon. And, it doesn't seem like, it doesn't seem like 5 minutes since we were thinking about the Europa League. And already now it's Saturday, the 9th of March, and we're preparing for tomorrow's game against Hibernian in the Scottish Cup. It's crazy, isn't it? Absolutely crazy that we're already thinking of this now. And, you can only imagine what the players have gone through in the last few hours. An absolute whirlwind, really, for them. Just one game to the next, to the next, to the next. And I suppose some players, that for some players, that's exactly what they want. They don't want time to think. They just want time to play, to get on with it, to play game after game after game. And Sunday's quarter final against Hibernian at Easter Road is obviously in the forefront of most Rangers fans' minds now as we turn our minds to domestic matters after that European sojourn on Thursday with a fantastic performance, an absolutely brilliant performance by the team out in Lisbon. I think against all odds as well. I think people are underestimating, and I found it particularly hilarious what Bill Leckie said in his Daily Record article when he talked about the fact that Rangers were disappointed with the result, etc., etc. What a load of absolute crap that is. If you think about the fact that Rangers were missing Abdallah Sima, they were missing Matondo, they were missing Cortez. They were missing Todd Cantwell, their talisman at number 10. They were missing so many talented players. And, the team had a bit of a makeshift feel to it slightly, in terms of especially the wide positions with Dujon, Sterling on one wing and Fabio Silva on the other wing. Fabio not really signed as a winger, more as a 10 or a striker, and Dujon Sterling signed as a defender and obviously a fantastic defensive midfield player, but has been filling in on the wing as well. So I think anybody who is kind of trying to downplay this or say that Rangers will be disappointed, I think I suppose there is an element of disappointment in the fact that we really feel that we should have won that game in the end. I think it's disappointing that both their goals came not from open play, one from a very dubious penalty and one from an absolute brain fart from Connor Goldson. And I don't particularly want to talk about Connor Goldson because I get enough criticism over the Connor Goldson fanboys that there are around our team at this moment in time. Now, when we think about that game at the on Tuesday night, one of the players that really stood out for me was Fabio Silva, and also another player that really stood out was Mohamed Diomande. And we will talk in this video a little bit about both Mohamed Diomande and Fabio Silva. We're going to have some thoughts of on Lawrence Shankland, as well as that old rumor, that old transfer speculation restarts ahead of the summer window, which obviously it's still got a bit of a way to go. And also Nick Montgomery, the Hibs manager, has been talking about his team and stating that Rangers will find it a lot harder to beat Hibs this time, and that Hibs are a lot better team than the last time Rangers played them. Certainly that'll be interesting to see. And it's always a risky thing to come out and say, isn't it? My team's a lot better. My team's very well. Yes, I know there's a sort of element of trying to big your team up, but you kind of keep that in-house, don't you? You don't go to the media about it. That's never a particularly wise statement, as you could be left with an awful lot of egg on your face. Well, let's start off by talking a little bit about this man here in the picture, Mohamed Diomande. We will obviously get to that Lawrence Shankland speculation and some possible positive news on the Shankland front for Rangers. So hang on for that. It is upcoming. Mohamed Diomande joined during the January transfer window from Norgesland. And, when he came into Rangers, he obviously hadn't played any competitive football since November, with the fact that the Danish league season finished then. And since he's arrived, since he's come in, he has kind of, in a way, made that place alongside John Lundstrom his own. He really has, become a stalwart on this team sheet. And I heard him described by one commenter on my video, on one of my videos yesterday, as a Rolls Royce of a midfield player, and he certainly looks an absolute class act who is getting stronger and stronger with every single game. And I've been absolutely impressed with Mohamed Diomande. He's kind of been that midfielder we've been missing. The one that kind of Michael Beale promised us that Jose Cifuentes was going to be, but never really ever became that player, did he? Jose's always struggled and never really fitted in, but it seems that Mohamed Diomande is really fitting in Glasgow and really fitting in to the Rangers system. Now, what is it Diomande does so well? Well, you know, if you go back and watch the Thursday night's game against Benfica, you'll kind of see Mohamed Diomande in a nutshell. I mean, first of all, you've got the tackling, the battling, the fighting for the ball, which is constant. You know, he's always getting stuck in. He's not afraid to have a tackle. Now, he may look slightly built, but he certainly doesn't seem to suffer at all from, you know, that slight build. He has got the physical ability to battle and to fight with players, and that's quite clear. And he does have that combativeness to play as that number 8 in the Rangers system. You know, certainly this sort of begs questions about Nicholas Raskin, about, you know, what does this hold for Raskin going forward? You know, Raskin was very much seen as been that number 8, has been the guy who would play alongside Lunny or alongside Jack. But Mohamed Diomande has really made that space his own. Now, it's not just the tackling as well, it's also the passing. You know, he's got a great range of passing. He takes shots from outside the box. He's got a couple of goals already for us. You know, his eye for distribution is very, very good indeed. You know, he's also got a fantastic cross on him. I mean, witness that cross for the Tom Lawrence goal in Lisbon. I mean, if you watch that again, it's just football awareness, isn't it? It's a football brain. You know, how often when players get into that position, they just smash it across the area beautifully with Silva. He goes beyond his man. He gets his head up. He picks out Lawrence in the box. A lovely lofted ball up and a great header by Tom Lawrence. You know, Mohamed Diomande is really maturing into being one of the best midfielders we have. Now, here is his stats from his time at Rangers so far. Excellent stats. Excellent stats. So, in the Europa League, he's made 1 appearance. And has that 1 assist for the Tom Lawrence goal in Lisbon. Then you've got the Scottish Premiership, where he's made 6 appearances, scoring 2 goals. 6 appearances, scoring 2 goals. You know, again, that's what, 7 matches, 2 goals, one assist. That's 3 goal contributions in 7 games, nearly 1 in 2. So, you know, he's made an excellent start. But it's not just the goals and the assists. It's also, you know, his distribution, his flexibility of position, the fact that he can play as a 10, he can play as an 8, he can even play as a winger. You know, he really has matured into, well, starting to mature into an excellent asset, and really showing that Niels Koppen and his scouting team deserve a whole load of credit for securing the services of Mohamed Diomande. He does look an absolute class act. Well, we're going to talk some Shankland and some Fabio Silva in a minute. Now, Hibs manager Nick Montgomery has been speaking ahead of this Sunday's game. Montgomery is someone who is never afraid to make a comment. He's never afraid to stick his oar in when he talks about his team and kind of towards other teams, is he? Nick Montgomery says that a team that welcomes Rangers to Easter Road on Sunday will be in much better shape than the team that he took to his previous 2 meetings with Philippe Clement's Rangers. Hibs were beaten 4-0 at Ibrox back in October, and then they lost 3-0 at Easter Road in January. You know, it was a team, obviously, you know, back at Easter Road that was stretched a little bit. I think Jordan Abita played centre half, not his natural position. Montgomery said, "We're definitely a better team than we were then. The squad is in a lot better shape than it was for both of the Rangers games this season." Montgomery is clearly hopeful that his team can come up with a bit of a shock and knock Rangers out of the cup and progress to the semi-finals. That certainly seems to be the hope. I mean, going into this game, if you take league position, I think league kind of goes out the window when it goes to the cup. But, you know, obviously Rangers are top. Hibs currently sits 6th, 7 points behind Kilmarnock in 5th, and just a couple of 1 point ahead of Dundee and 2 points ahead of Motherwell in the fight for that top 6 to be in the top 6 for the split. Now, Montgomery's team have improved. I think that is quite clear, you know, in recent weeks. So since they played us, they got a 2-2 draw away at Rugby Park, which is obviously a tough place to go. They did lose 3-0 at home to St Mirren. They lost 2-1 away, 2-1 at home to Celtic in very dodgy circumstances. 2 very dodgy penalties helping Celtic to win that game. And I think Hibs can count themselves as very unlucky not to beat Celtic on that day. They beat Inverness Caledonian. This is in the last round of the Cup, 3-1, before a 2-2 draw up at Pittodrie. Then a 2-1 win at home against Dundee, a 1-1 draw in the derby against Hearts, although by all accounts, Hibs were very unlucky not to win that game. Last time out in the league, they won 2-0 against near bottom Ross County. So their results quite clearly have, with the exception of that Celtic result, really picked up in recent times. And yes, their squad is looking stronger. Yes, their squad is looking fitter. And obviously that will pose a threat. And you've obviously as well, got to be slightly concerned, haven't you, about the impact that game on Thursday night will have had on Rangers. What state are the players in? Have we got any new injuries? And I look at it. I looked after us after that game, and certainly to me, it appeared that Dujon Sterling was carrying that injury. He had ice on his hammy. There's a good chance, obviously, that Dujon will be missing when the teams are announced on Sunday. So look, at the end of the day, it will be a big test for Rangers. How many changes will Philippe Clement make? He has shown that he's not afraid to rotate, that he's not afraid to change this team round. What is his plan with the team for Sunday? I've given up trying to predict these teams. I really have. You try and make the best predictions you can, but Philippe Clement will always throw in a curveball. Obviously, I think he will use the squad. Obviously, I think he will make some changes. He'd be very aware of what Thursday night took out of our players. All the players went to the well several times, and perhaps there's some players there that particularly may need a rest. I talk particularly of John Lundstrom, who has been absolutely outstanding since Philippe Clement became manager. But, last couple of games, he's looked down on his feet. He's looked knackered. And I think during that second half against Benfica, he looked absolutely finished. He really did. And he made some very uncharacteristic of this season mistakes, being sloppy on the ball, giving it away easier, letting his man run off him. He didn't look the same John Lundstrom we've seen, under Philippe Clement. He looked kind of back to the old John Lundstrom, which is not good news, and especially not good news for him if he is truly seeking a new deal with us. So, look, I think, Lunny, he seems to be one of the only players who has not been rested in recent weeks. So, is it worth resting John Lundstrom, giving him a break? Ryan Jack is fit now. He could certainly do what John Lundstrom does. So, Jack could come in, play alongside Diomande. Raskin could come in, play alongside Diomande. There's a whole host of options there for Philippe Clement in that position, which is obviously goes against what was happening at the start of the season. But Lunny is certainly someone I think who does need a rest going into this game. So is this game going to be easy? I don't think it is. I think there will have been a physical effect on Rangers. After Thursday, and yes, this Hibs team is looking stronger and is looking fitter. They played 4-2-3-1 in the last game against Ross County. Marshall in goal, Miller at right back, Fish, Bushiri, and Abita at left back. Mariah Welsh and Newell as the two in front of the back four. Martin Boyle, Marconedes, Mayalida, and Dylan Venter up front. So, a 4-2-3-1 matching our system. I think, again, they will do that on Sunday against us. And Hibs always try and play football against us. Credit to them. At the end of the day, they're not going to play that low block. They're not going to try and frustrate and kick and foul. They didn't do that against Celtic. They did very well against Celtic. They took the game to them at times. I think that's, again, something they will try to do to us, and hope that, obviously, there is an element of fatigue there from Thursday night. We'll obviously look into this game properly on Sunday morning in the Matchday News video. Well, let's talk a little bit of this man. Now, I'm sure you all thought that once the January transfer window is over, that was it. No more Lawrence Shankland talk. I love that picture. No more Lawrence Shankland talk. No more discussion of Shankland. And yeah, look, Shankland would. It's a kind of a balanced one, isn't it? Shankland probably would have scored, a great deal of a number of goals for us this season had he signed in the second half of the season. Certainly, a lot of those chances that Cyril Dessers misses, I feel that Shankland would take. But by that same token, without Lawrence Shankland taking points from them, that has also helped. So it's a bit of a conundrum, isn't it, when it comes to Lawrence Shankland? However, Hearts chairman or chairwoman Anne Budge has said the club and Lawrence Shankland are some way off a new contract. There's been a lot of talk around Lawrence Shankland's future about what does the future hold for him. He's got 18 months left on his present deal. Is he looking to move on before the summer? Will he move in the summer? We're thinking getting a nice big signing on fee. You know, what is Shankland's plan? Certainly seems to be one that is up for debate. You know, I think you know, if you asked him, you know, he'd want to join Rangers. You know, it does seem intent that Hearts are trying their very best to get him to sign a new deal. They've offered him 2 new deals. He's turned them both down. On, you know, when asked about, you know, the deal and was it close, Budge said, no, it's definitely not close, not at all. He's still got 18 months left on his contract, there or thereabouts. So a large part of it is up to Lawrence. He's a young man. He's looking at what he's right for his career. He's been fantastic for us, and I'd like to think that we've been pretty good for him as well. So we're still talking, and we'd love him to stay, but he's a man in demand, as we know, and I think that's the only going to increase. It'll be a decision of his at the end of the day. So it looks very much like the Hearts management staff are leaving it very much up to Lawrence Shankland to decide his future. But, you know, the fact that he keeps repeatedly turning down contracts, you know, is that sending a signal, you know, to teams that he wants to leave, that he wants to get away from Tynecastle? And I think, you know, if that is the case, that Shankland does want to leave Tynecastle, that he does want to move on, you know, I would certainly hope that Rangers would put in a bid, or at least, you know, ask the question, how much do you want for him? You know, as his contract runs down as well, his value will decrease. You know, you can't go, you don't, and you can't go paying a vast sum of money for a player who's, you know, only got 18 months to 12 months left on his contract, especially when you can wait to sign them on a free. So, you know, both parties are aware of that. You know, Hearts, sorry, will be aware of that. There may be some bargaining to be done there, but it does seem interesting that that the Hearts board are saying that Shankland is absolutely nowhere near to signing a new deal, and that certainly, hopefully, will spike Rangers board interest and Rangers director of football Niels Coppen's interest. Shankland is certainly someone who I think could come in and do a job for us and score an awful lot of goals and help fire us to title after title, and obviously as well success in Europe. I would love to see Lawrence in a blue shirt. Well, let's touch a little bit on this man here, Fabio Silva. I want to give Fabio some credit. I think he gets some stick at times from fans, which is unjust. He scored 2 goals this season, which, you know, you could argue is not enough, but you know, he is trying to find his way. He is trying to settle down in Scotland, a different system, different club. You know, there's a lot to take in there, and you know, it's not going to be an instant thing. Yes, you can get the instant. You know, you can get some sort of instant reactions. You know, when he scores a goal or when he misses chances, but overall, you know, he'll need time to settle in. He'll need time to get used to playing Scottish football, which is very different to English football, which is very different to Portuguese football. You know, he was on loan at in Holland last season with PSV. So, you know, it is a very different concept. But I was really impressed with his performance on Thursday night. He played on the left side of the 3. Now, I'm sure he will tell you that's not his favourite position. That's not the position he prefers to play. So, you know, he to all credit to him, he held the ball up well, he bought time, he had good skill. You know, he had a chance to score. Thought Silva was very, very good, you know, for Rangers on Thursday night. Even playing in that wide run, maybe that'd be something that Philippe Clement thinks of in the short term, whilst obviously Rabbi Matondo, Oscar Cortez, and Abdallah Sima are out injured. So, you know, that's all a situation that does need to be addressed. But Silva is certainly doing a decent job filling in for those players, and maybe that's something that Philippe Clement will want to take forward into the league. Who knows? He might play him up front on Sunday against Hibs. You just never know with Philippe Clement. He really is the new tinker man, isn't he? With the way he goes about it and swaps things round and swaps players round. But you know, Fabio Silva is a technically very gifted player, very skillful player, and I certainly think that, you know, that he has more than, you know, he has more than enough skill and talent to go on and be a top quality player. It's up to us to help in that development process for Fabio, and also for Fabio to use the Europa League experience, the league experience, etc., to really succeed here at Rangers and show Wolves, his parent club, and any potential suitors that he is a very good quality player. Well, guys, that's pretty much it for this morning, this afternoon, or this evening, depending obviously when you picked up this video. We'll obviously continue to build up towards the Hibs game on Sunday in our match day news video. look out for that. The best way to make sure you never miss out on any of the great content is to hit that sub, ring that notification bell, and come and join the channel. Thanks for watching Glasgow Rangers Nation. As always, on the way out, there's 2 things I ask of you. Number 1 is to smash the like. And number 2 is to always remember, please never forget, we are the people.